Look out, y'all. It's your boy Ash talking some boxing. I want to talk about Juan Manuel Lopez versus Orlando Salido, the rematch. A lot of people didn't believe in the first fight that Salido would make a stand in that manner. A lot of people expected Lopez to blow Salido out due to his wider array of boxing skills and his lefty style. But it didn't occur like that. I don't know how people didn't give him a chance. I mean, he always puts up a very good effort against the guys that he fights. I mean, I know in this sport, to the non-boxing hardcore fans like you and I, records. People look at numbers in the records instead of the names. And you can sell that to the mainstream fans. I mean, you promote a guy who's 32-0 with 30 knockouts. Doesn't matter if he fought anybody. To the mainstream audience, that means he's somebody, you know, that's dangerous in the game. I mean, at the same time, they are. I mean, it is indicative of the type of punch that you have if you have a record like that. I'm not saying you're not a good fighter if you have a record like that. Obviously, you're doing something right, and you may be, you know, a top-notch fighter, but in this game, the name that you make for yourself is because of the guys that you have on your resume. And Orlando Salido, he was not with a high-profile promoter his whole entire career. He fought a lot of tough guys. He came up short a lot of times in his career because he's just one of these really tough Mexican fighters who learn how to fight on the job. And, you know, these are real fighters. I'm not saying if you have a high-profile promoter, you're all fluff. That's not true. But it's a lot of tough fighters in the game who don't have the benefit of fighting whoever they would like to fight. They have to take the fights they can get. A lot of times that means they're taking fights on short notice. And when you take fights on short notice, you don't know who you're getting in the ring with sometimes. It doesn't mean you don't have to deal with the rigors of making weight. You still got to make the weight. So, I mean, imagine trying to take a fight on short notice and you're not near the weight and you have to take the fight. You got to feed your family. I mean, that's what these fighters are doing. They're not just doing it just for the money. You know, they have to survive. So that's Orlando Salido, a tough, rugged Mexican fighter that's basically learned how to fight really well on the job. And you got to give credit to a guy like that because he does have really good feats so far in his career. I mean, he's a two-time world champion, and that means something. So a lot of people have way better skills, and they never become champions in this game. It's just a fact. And when he came to fight, I mean, even when he fought Gamboa, he gave Gamboa a tough fight. You know, he even put Gamboa down once. And you know he got robbed against Robert Guerrero. He beat Robert Guerrero, the Ghost. You know, they said he tested positive for steroids, but he took a test the very next day and he tested negative. So I don't really know what's going on with that, but, you know, he beat Robert Guerrero on that night, though. He gave him a really tough fight, and he won legitimately. And he should have won. That should be a W on his resume. And in the first fight, it was an upset victory. I mean, Juan Manuel Lopez, he was a hotshot amateur, and he brought those talents to the professional game where he became world champion in super bantamweight. He had very amazing victories. A lot of fights that he's had, you know, blew him up in rank, and, you know, as it should have. I mean, when you beat top-notch fighters, you should be highly ranked. And one of those fights that kind of brought a lot of attention to him more than what was already on him, because he was another top-ranked fighter, and, you know, Bob Arum had the media by the nuts. He could promote anybody and become a star. But when he knocked out Ponce de Leon in the first round, I think a lot of people really knew then that he was going to be, you know, special. And, you know, he was able to secure 2 world titles in 2 divisions. So obviously, you know, he's a top-notch fighter. Will he be the next Puerto Rican great? You know, he's very young in his career, and, you know, we'll see where that goes. But, you know, it's looking good thus far. When you're in the ring with another good fighter, I mean, somebody got to take the L. You know, that's just the part of the sport. Somebody's got to take that L. But just because you take that L doesn't mean you're not a top-notch fighter. It's just boxing. It's wins and losses. That's how you dictate who should be ranked high or who should be getting this publicity. But if you leave it to the media, all you got to do is blow out bums and be promoted well, then they'll overrate you. I mean, that's just the way it is, man. That's just the way, and say people are ducking you. I mean, seriously, wins and losses is how you should be ranked in this game, and the fighters that you face. So Juan Manuel Lopez definitely deserved the credit he has been given. I mean, he hasn't been overhyped at all, and he's facing a tough uphill battle in this rematch because Salido comes to fight. And if you ask me, Salido is going to be a tough fight for just about everybody he gets in the ring with. Still, even at 31 years of age, he's not going to be an easy night out. And I really think in this particular fight that Juan Manuel Lopez may be overlooking him again. You can't just look at the record and see 11 losses. That don't necessarily mean you're not a tough fighter. That does not mean that. History has shown guys with just messed up records. But when you get in the ring with them, you better have trained properly or you got, problems. So, and I think Salido just has a read on southpaw fighters, man. I just think he's held for any southpaw, I mean, when you look at their attributes, it's obvious that Juan Manuel Lopez has the better of it. He has a better jab. He's a lefty. He got power in both hands. He has a really good left hook. He's sound. He's technically sound. But, he still makes a lot of mistakes. If you ask me, I think he gets in love with his power just a little bit too much. And I'm not just saying that he starts looking for that one punch to knock guys out. That's not true. He does put his punches together in combination. But instead of getting your shots off and moving, he kind of gets caught up in the moment and he stays in the pocket a whole lot longer than is necessary. And when you stay in the pocket a lot longer than was necessary, and you don't have the ability to defend yourself in an infight, then there's a big possibility you're going to catch a big punch that you didn't see coming, and that's always to his detriment. He never sees that big shot that comes, but he always gets hurt by it. And he has to go into, either survival mode or just balls to the wall. And, he's a Puerto Rican fighter. And if they get hurt, you already know they're not going to just try to survive. Most of them will go balls to the wall with you, like me or you. And, that's why he ended up losing that fight against Salido. He stood in the pocket a whole lot longer than was necessary. But I'm not just saying Salido's a bum fighter. I mean, I think like I said, he has a read on these southpaws. He knows how to get that overhand right hand to land against these lefties. And unfortunately for Juan Manuel Lopez, if you're a southpaw fighter, you need to circle right behind your jab. As far as foot placement, you need to have your lead foot on the outside of the orthodox guy's lead foot, all while circling to your right. Because when you do that, you force your opponent to walk to his right, which is in line for the straight left hand. And he has a big straight left hand, but he doesn't fight the way a southpaw fights. He goes to his left. He goes to the direction of his power hand. And when he does that, he's walking right in Salido's line of fire. And Salido knows how to time him with that overhand right. And unless Juan Manuel Lopez studied this tape and figured out a way how to avoid that overhand right, he's going to eat a lot of them in this fight as well. And he may be up on the cards. But I just think Salido I think he has his number. I think he has his number, man. And like I said, I give Juan Manuel Lopez credit for taking this fight to prove to the world, that he is a true champion, and that was an off night. Can he win? Hell yeah. When you got stopping power and boxing skills, look here, you're dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You're dangerous. When you got the ability to end it in one, you are a dangerous fighter. So I'm not in any way saying that this is not a dangerous fight for Salido. He's got problems on his hands too. And you know what? I could be totally wrong. He could totally get blown out in this fight. And if that happens, you got to give Juan Manuel Lopez his props. You got to give him his just due. This is not an easy opponent. You know what I mean? You can't just look at the record. Look at the names. Look who he's fought. When you fought all those guys, you have experience. And when you add to the fact that he's a tough Mexican fighter with decent power, decent punch, and he's always well conditioned and strong, that is a tough fight. So may the best man win is the way I look at it. I think Salido's going to win. I think he's going to stop Juan Manuel Lopez again, but I think Juan Manuel Lopez is going to put up a valiant effort. I think he's going to pull out a lot of tricks out of his bag. But I just think Salido has a read on these lefties, man. The way he beat Robert Guerrero and basically got robbed of a W, and the way he beat Juan Manuel Lopez the first time. Unless Juan Manuel Lopez will learn how to fully recover when being hurt and then go back to the game plan, unless he will do that, I don't see him winning this fight. I think if he gets hit by a big punch, he's going to beat his chest like, come on, me and you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just not the right way to beat Salido. That's Salido's game. Come to me and watch what happens to you. But if Juan Manuel Lopez just sticks to the game plan and let his skills do the talking without trying to prove that he has more machismo, then he should win. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Juan Manuel Lopez is what he is. He's a tough fighter, got a lot of heart, and he's willing to prove it, man, even when hurt. So that's just my pick, man. I think Salido's going to knock him out again. I could be totally wrong. If the odds favor Juan Manuel Lopez, those are still probably the way it should be. He's the more accomplished fighter. And, in terms of skill set, he definitely is the best fighter out of the two. But styles make fights. And like I said, I think Salido got a read on these lefties. And I think he's going to just defend his title. And, that'll make for more interesting fights in the future. That'll kind of shake up the boxing world right there if he wins again. I guess it wouldn't, but it wouldn't surprise me, if he wins at all. That's why I'm picking him. But you can leave it how you leave it down there in the comments section, man. It's your boy Ash. Peace.